Hello and welcome to the Mastodon Bookshelves Reading Corner. Today is January 2nd, 2014, and this is the first story of the year. Welcome back to those of you who have watched my videos before. I'm kind of been a little bit of a hiatus, but hopefully I'm back to stay. So good luck to increased writing productivity this year. The story that I have written for today is called Demon Cat. It's probably going to be broken up into 2 or 3 parts. I'm not certain yet. It's kind of a horror fantasy that I've been working on, and I hope that you enjoy it. Hey, there's something under the patio. I think it's a cat. It looks hurt. Run inside and grab me an old shoebox, and a towel or something to wrap it up in. What if it's sick? It could have rabies and bite you. Don't be stupid. It's not going to bite me. Go get a shoebox. Where are they? I don't know. Look in the garage. Mom still keeps all of that craft stuff in there, right? Dean ran into the house to get a box to put the cat in, while Greg crawled under the patio. The space was tight, almost too small for him to fit in anymore, and he had to crawl on his hands and knees to get to where the cat was hiding. It was the ugliest cat he'd ever seen, all skin and bones, and as he got closer to the cat, he could tell that it was sick. I got one, called Dean, scurrying back with the brown shoebox clutched between his hands. Alright, toss the box here. I want to come under and see too, Dean whined. No, you'll scare it. You can see him after I'm out from under here. Fine, pouted Dean, half throwing, half pushing the box to Greg. Where's the towel? Ugh, never mind. Greg stripped off the shirt and used it to cradle the cat into the box. The cat didn't move as he picked it up, and it opened its overly circular eyes to look at him as he moved it. Greg was taken in by how round they were, and the way they glittered with flecks of gold in the shadows under the patio. The cat looked directly into Greg's eyes, and even though it was just for an instant, he felt that he was being evaluated, judged. Then the cat's eyes slid back closed as if it was sleeping again. He crawled out from under the patio and put the box down while he brushed the dirt from his knees. Dean peered curiously into the box. Are you sure it's a cat? Dean's face showed surprise as he looked the cat over, with its head that was too big and a mouth that was too wide, its furless skin that was scaly and rough, and its emaciated body with skin clinging tightly to the bones beneath. It's so ugly. What else would it be? It's just a sick and dirty cat that hasn't been fed in a while. How'd you like it if someone said you couldn't be a little boy, just because you're super ugly? Greg teased, ruffling Dean's hair with his free hand. Hey! He exclaimed loudly. Just kidding, buddy. The cat's way uglier than you could ever be. Dean stuck his tongue out at Greg. So what do we do with it? That's a good question. It's too late now. The vet'll be closed. I guess you can sneak it into the garage, Greg said. There's no way Mom would ever let this thing into the house. And then I guess tomorrow I'll take it to the vet and see if they can help it out. With Dean acting as a lookout, Greg smuggled the cat into the garage, where he switched it into a larger box and covered it with old rags. He also put a bowl of water into the box, so it'd have something to drink if it woke up. Growing up, they'd never had pets, and Greg had no idea what cats ate other than cat food. Finally, he shredded some lunch meat and left it by the water bowl, figuring the cat would eat that. He snuck into the garage a couple more times that evening to check on it, but as far as he could tell, it never moved. Good night, cat, Greg said the last time he went to check on it. The cat still hadn't moved or had eaten anything. See you in the morning. Everything was quiet when Greg woke, but a feeling nagged at him as if he had been disturbed from his sleep. He was too alert, like he had heard something, a scratching sound. He sat up in bed and looked around his dark room. Was there something in the corner? It looked darker over there. He stared at the spot, trying to figure out why it was like that. Holy crap! He cried out, sitting up straighter in his bed. Something was moving in the corner, coming out of the floor itself, like reeds blowing through a heavy fog. From the way it jerked back and forth, trying to grasp a hold of something, Greg realized it was a paw. Its claws sank into the carpet, like it was pulling itself over a ledge, instead of through the floor. A second paw came through, and as it did, he heard the scratching noises again. The claws hooked into the carpet to give it leverage. Then the head, two oversized eyes glittering gold in the darkness, stared directly at Greg. Its mouth, large and gaping, was filled with rows of knife-like teeth that glinted in the moonlight. This wasn't possible. He had to be dreaming. Cats couldn't ooze through floorboards, and cats didn't turn into monsters. Still, these thoughts didn't stop the feeling of panic rising in his chest. Should he grab it? Hit it? Run out of his room? Indecision gripped him. The entire idea was ridiculous. This had to be a dream. What else could it be? But something inside him screamed that this was all wrong, that it had to be real. If it was a dream, he wouldn't know it was one, would he? Instead, he continued to sit in his bed like a moron, watching. The cat had pulled most of itself to the floor. The more it pulled, the more it seemed as if its body was stretching. Greg was certain the thing had doubled in length from what it had been when he'd pulled it out from under the patio, and it just seemed to be getting longer. As it finished coming through the floor, it stood up on its hind legs. By now the cat was as tall as a person, but impossibly thin, with bones protruding under its skin. Greg stared, slack-mouthed, at his nightmare, torso tilted back, arms dangling down to its knees, hands ending in long claws that curled gracefully off the tips of its fingers. The cat's head was too round, and he found this incredibly unnerving. And that mouth with all of those teeth. The lamp. Greg reached over to turn it on, looking away from the cat monster as he groped in the dark for the switch. His eyes were just playing tricks on him. He'd turn on the lamp and there'd be nothing there. Still, his heart was pounding in his chest. Click. He flicked the switch. Nothing. The light didn't turn on. Still, this was just his hyperactive imagination, and the lamp would prove that. He flicked the switch again, back and forth, but it didn't turn on. He looked back to where the cat-turned-human monster had been, but it was gone. He shook his head and tried to exhale all the pent-up tension in his chest. It was just his imagination. Greg turned back to the lamp and tried the switch again. He sighed, trying to slow his heart. The bulb must have burnt out.